Dr. King asked me and Stokely to come over and have dinner at his house, that he just wanted to talk. And so we went over to his house. He wanted to understand where Black Power came from. He wanted to know everything we were thinking, where we were going with it. The discussion was about 3 hours long. And then what we wanted to know was, as a moral icon of the movement, when was he going to make a statement against the war in Vietnam?
The leaders of the peace movement were reaching out to Dr. King and wanted him to get more actively and publicly involved. But I resisted because my initial reaction was I felt that they were trying to appropriate the legitimacy they didn't have.
Hey, hey, LBJ! LBJ! Hey, hey, LBJ!
Politically, we had to be very cautious about whether or not we wanted to publicly criticize what could be described as having been the greatest president for civil rights since Abraham Lincoln. This is after the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the Voting Rights Act of 1965. And here we're going to publicly excoriate and criticize the man without whose leadership none of this would have been possible.
The anti-war movement was a new constituency for us. There was a spiritual connectivity that we were comfortable with, and we understood their positions. They wanted to emulate our tactics, but there were radical elements of violence and anti-American discussion, and we didn't want him taking his moral position into an extreme left environment with kids who were kind of anti-American, who were communists, who were burning American flags. And we could not control that.
Johnson was worried because communists were on the other side on the war. And over the years, the FBI was constantly investigating King and citing one or two of his associates who they said were communists. He was afraid that the FBI would leak it, that Hoover would really get King branded as a communist, and it would build up an enormous backlash.
For a long period of time, every conversation was wiretapped secretly by the FBI, and the contents of the conversations written down, transcribed verbatim